Have you ever bought or rented a videotape that wasn't quite right?
You're listening to Truth or...
There's something about the Veronicas playing their single Untouched during an exorcism that just doesn't sit right with me, but it is now embedded as the exorcism theme song thanks to the new movie horror slasher, whatever you want to call it, Bring Her Back, which I attended the premiere for, and many more premieres because Sony Pictures Australia are heavy hitting them out this month. I'm talking about not one, not two, not three, but technically 4 big hits from Sony Pictures Australia came out this month. And I was lucky enough to be attended to the premiere of all 4. And I feel like the cinema guy is seeing me every time, like every couple of days now, just like,
you know in Back to the Future 2, where Marty's like, Biff's in the tunnel, or Biff's working his way to the tunnel, and Marty's like on the hoverboard going alongside the car, and Biff's like, you again? That's exactly what's happening at your local movie theater.
I don't think they got too much problem with it. It's just, where do I live?
Sean, you're going for free. They're not making a single cent off you. Well, do you go to the candy bar?
I do. That's my contribution. I do get the jumbo combos every single time, but I'm a pretty simple man with treats, and that's one thing I throw into my interviews with actors now. Is I not only ask them their favorite films, what's their favorite film snacks? Dude, what is yours?
Oh, dude, you know it's the Choc Top, boysenberry. But I'll buy 2 Choc Tops, one for the previews, right, and one for the feature. Because if I just buy one, I'm still looking at the up-and-coming releases, and I'm sitting there just getting the chocolate out of the bottom of the cone.
Me and another friend of mine started a little ritual like a decade ago where we'd buy us, usually, but me and him are both simple too. It's just large Coke, jumbo popcorn, but we'd sit it next to us during the previews and reluctantly try not to touch them until the film, like the lights dim, the trailers are done. It's so more exciting to pop it open when the Universal like sign comes up and everything, and it's right, time to go, pop, like, yeah, try it next time if you can. Unless you like hot popcorn, just get into it.
Mate, rip into it big time. I was going to say that you go to, you can never underestimate, still to this day, you can't get, sure, everyone's got jumbo screens at home and really good sound bars and stuff, but that feeling you get at the cinemas when the lights go down and then you see the studio logo, and it's just like, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like talking about it. You're not going to get that. And I think that that's a really important thing to have when you go and see a film. You want to be excited. You want it to be, no pun intended with event cinemas, you want it to be an event, not just something where it's like, oh, I'll watch that. So, yeah. And I know what's great. I can't back this up with statistics. I reckon that people starting to cotton on to the fact that while the experience at home is good, the cinemas is great. Like, they're not comparative. And I think it's starting to swing back. And the downside of that is that the release is such a short run nowadays. Like, what were we talking about last podcast? We were talking about Michael B. Jordan in it, the one that the Sinners. That's already on one of the streaming services. So I missed be able to see that, but.
Yeah, it's a 2-month window at the moment, and I do get it. You know, most people do enjoy it more at home. I don't know what their dispute is. Is it the, you know, especially when you're going with multiple people, the cost does come up, I guess. But hey, we've got free movie tickets to give away every month, and plenty of them, so that cuts down the price in half. So follow us, enter our contest, and there you go.
That is one of the best segues I've ever heard in my life.
And actually, like when you're saying like the comparison of watching a movie at home and the cinema, it actually is kind of like, you know, going to a gig. It's like listening to your favorite band at home is watching the movie at home, you know, then going to see the movie at event, as you say, is like going to see your favorite band live on stage. And especially at premieres, like movies when they first come out, or like movies from like the 90s, so to say, I'm like feel privileged. I got to see Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey on the big screen, you know, stuff like that. I was there, you know, like it's like saying I see Metallica on the big stage, not just listen to them on the CD Walkman at home. Hey, you got a good sound bar. but you don't have quake sound, subwoofer shit that shakes people freaking seat. You feel the movie. Like Sinners, for example, watched it at quake sound. I was in awe. I watched it at home with the missus. The sound wasn't loud enough. I wasn't feeling it as much. And I still loved it, but it just like, you got to feel it.
You do. And if there's one thing that cinema still have to do as an option, at event cinemas, I'm looking at you, I want to be able to walk in, get the projectionist with a crisp $20 note and go, turn the subtitles on, bro.
I do the same, like turn it up, turn the subs up more. I want this place to explode with bass.
It's something that you have to experience. That's the way it was made. It was not, movies are not made to watch on your phone. As a time killer, sure. But, so that's why I'm, just having a look, like in what you were saying before about, I've got a list that you've emailed through to me of what Sony themselves have got coming up. And I'm like, well, there's 3-4 trips to the cinemas. I'd gladly go and get my double choc top boysenberry.
Yeah, whatever other people's opinions on why they don't go, it can be valid. And one person actually messaged me something in particular is that they don't like on the cinema for is that they can hear the cinema next to them. It's too loud. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I guess you are the type of person that should watch your movies at home because you like them, quietly. And there's a few people that would contend that too. Yeah, the music's too loud, but I want it loud. And as cinemas should upgrade this more for people like us because we do want it loud. Like, going for a gig, it's like you don't want Metallica to turn it down a notch, But
you don't want to do that at all. No one has their 5.1 surround sound set up properly. I've been over to people's places where the speakers for the rear is like on like a really ordinary stand. They're in front of you. It's like, so yeah, the cinemas is and starting to claw back. And if people go, huh? I don't know what huh means, but go to McDonald's, buy yourself a large meal and maybe some 6 nugs, right? Don't sit there and go, oh, well, it's just a movie. How about the people that have got the temperature set just so, the screen perfectly calibrated, the sound dialed in, and then you might happen to be the unfortunate recipient of sitting right behind you, which means that you've got this Mount Rushmore outline covering half the screen. Apart from that, being 6'2", 6'3", because I'm 6'1", and I know you're taller than me. Do you scooch down in the seat for the people?
I do. I do it out of courtesy, but also feeling awkward. Even at gigs, I tend to hunch down a lot and I feel bad. So I'm actually I'm more of a front row kind of person. Do you know that you got those 6 seats that are kind of at the front and then there's that big gap and then it's like all everyone sits at those more back kind of allocated seats. Yeah. I sit at those 4 at the front because no one's ever there. So I still scooch. Just
See, you're a good lad. I can't get over how even just as you walk into the cinemas and you can smell the popcorn, there's a buzz. People walking out talking about the film they just seen. It's just an experience that I think a lot of people have forgotten, which could very easily be remedied.
Shouldn't be taken for granted too. Like, go out, support your local cinema. But yeah, I love that popcorn smell too. And wish there was a candle for it or something. It's something kind of scent I can probably, especially like when I'm done at the cinema, I'll bring my popcorn home. That's left very rarely. There's something left, but I'll leave it in my room just so that smells in the air.
But we need to start a Movieland popcorn spray. Yeah. Like, can you imagine?
Googling it now. Stay tuned.
The perfume workshop, not a plug. No, I can't get back to the cinemas. Yeah, and as you said before, free tickets on the way. So keep listening or watching if you're currently on our YouTube.
Yes, definitely stay tuned because we got tickets for I Know What You Did Last Summer coming next month. So get on our social. Yes, the New York one.
Okay, I was going to say, do I have?
Is that the OG soundtrack?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's got a corn,
yeah.
Proud. What have we got? Typo Negative, Cooler Shaker, Offspring, L7, Goat Boy, Corn. Yeah. Nice.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Jennifer Love Hewitt actually did a song for the soundtrack. It was like a Mandela effect for me, but my sister gave me the CD single she had, and it had the I Know What You Did Last Summer artwork on it. And that's why I liked it. I was, I've got movie merchandise. And I listened to it and the song's like, yeah, I get it. You know, it's not a heavy metal song or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like thought about it the other day, and I'm like, I hit eBay to see if the one existed, and there's a version on there, but it's like a pink cover, and it's just her sitting on a chair. I'm like, what happened to the copy I had? Was it real? No, I want that artwork.
Oh, I bet it had multimedia on it as well, like some
maybe
20 by 98 video clip. God, I've just showed my age.
Absolutely, I'm right there with you. But yeah, no, cinemas are definitely an experience and something you should definitely recheck out. And cinemas, I want them, like I say, with the sound to turn it up, but also there's a lot of signature effects happening at some cinemas, and event cinemas are one to do that. You've heard of the Screen X, which green going all around the cinema, but they also have this new one called 4DX, making it more like you're going on a amusement park ride, which I'm all for. Yeah, the moving seats. It's got the fog, it's got the lightning, it's got the wind, water. Imagine like Twister, and you got the wind and water. I'm all for this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for it. Definitely.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, back to bring her back. It's back to scratching her back. Yeah,
These two lads that wrote and directed this movie, because they're in South Australia, and you roll in very similar circles.
Yeah, they actually lived about 15 minutes from me, and I didn't know them growing up, but I did hang out with them prior to them becoming bigger. They were still really big on YouTube at the time. They're doing a lot of things. You've probably not known by name at the time, but they're called Raka Raka on YouTube. But you would have known the videos they're doing. There's this skit out there where it's Ronald McDonald like trying to trash KFC things and stuff. Do you remember those videos? Yeah. That's Raka Raka, these guys, yeah. So they're South Australia. I knew those videos for a long time and didn't know they were like home. Yeah, I didn't recognize. Yeah. And I hit them up and we hung out and we did some skits together. It didn't end up getting used, but it was just cool hanging out with them and talking, and you talked a lot. Yeah. They're definitely heavyweights in horror right now. And just to call them independent is obviously a status that they are, but like they just look so much experience is there. But it is obviously because they were YouTubers and putting that really quality material on there, by the way. So Talk to Me came out and it was filmed in South Australia, which is great. Even right now, they actually live in Los Angeles, especially when they're making Bring Her Back. And they flew back from Los Angeles or wherever they are, and filmed here at home, because paying tribute to Adelaide, this is amazing. But the one key factor of like trying to, what do you call it? The token kind of cameo of South Australia they could do for Talk to Me was the Adelaide Metro buses and Mawson Lakes. You could see. You did see.
While they were filming? No. Okay. Good.
No.
But you've got to hand it to Sony Pictures, and I'm not just saying that because I want them to call their bros in the gaming department and hook up a sweet PS5 Pro. I'm not just saying that. I know that A24, distributing this film, but Sony Pictures, to then to go, you know what? Two young lads, independent, killing it. Let's back them. You don't see a lot of film studios doing that. Yeah, Bring Her Back. It's in cinemas now.
Yeah, it came out May 29, and while I say that's a June heavyweight because it came out in the tail end of May and it's still screening in cinemas, screaming, so to say. It's a lot of body horror in here, by the way. It's very powerful, and I think Sony Pictures definitely, took it out on a limb, and it paid off, because this film will forever be like looked back on probably one of the best kind of slasher horror thrillers, especially coming out of Australia. So very gold mine you struck here.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring Her Back. And Daddy and Michael, probably not listening to this. That's fair enough. Keep doing what you're doing. The industry needs more you.
If you haven't seen Talk to Me, check out that one back to back with Bring Her Back when you get the chance. But listen to them loud as well. This one has some great performances, and it hits hard, man. The body horror in this, like, I think everyone in the cinema felt this one moment in particular. I'm not going to spoil it, but even I kind of went for a second.
Whoa.
Yeah, it made you like kind of check your teeth were all right.
When your teeth do that weird thing. What movie made me do that? I think it was, it was Hostel.
Right, yeah. Well, that's
started doing weird stuff, man. And I'm like, why is your brain and what you see widen to your teeth? Like, mate, I nearly dropped my choc top. That's the real travesty.
Absolutely. Yeah, so next on the list we had Karate Kid Legends, which came out on June the 5th. I went to the premiere of this one as well at Event Cinemas in Marion. There was everyone doing kung fu fighting at the premiere, red carpet, doing kicks and flips and then jumping up in the air for photos. It was quite an experience. So yeah, this one also did a nice tribute to Mr. Miyagi. It was a typical reboot storyline, but it was done with respect, I think, like when you know things were coming, I was still hooked for it, Ben Wang was flipping nonstop throughout the whole film. Basically,
He's good.
Yeah, he's good. Did this evolution of the crane kick. I didn't even know if I'd call it a crane kick, but it was just like, it's something like they're kind of teasing at the start of the film, the mid-film, and then it pays off at the very end. He's like practicing it the whole film.
Nice.
Yeah, that was amazing. And Aramis Knight as Connor Day, basically the new Johnny Lawrence type. He stole the show for me. Like every time he appeared, tension followed. I'm like, but okay. I root for the villains, Kylo Ren, I'm just...
Yeah. And one of the things I did like about Karate Kid Legends is that sometimes when you get an apex actor, in other words, they are their genre, right? And Jackie Chan coming into this one again, but it wasn't just fan service, because Jackie could have just appeared, done a couple of quick things and thank you, paycheck, but he's still really, really good. And not to get off topic, but he's thrown the gauntlet and he said to Chris Tucker, Rush Hour 4.
Yeah, let's do it.
While we still can. So, Karate Kid Legends, look, it gives you that same feeling watching Cobra Kai. It has to adapt, it has to evolve. But I think that Karate Kid Legends is, well, put it this way, if in the next 2 years there isn't another Karate Kid movie, I'd be highly surprised.
No, I'm completely open to it for sure. And my only issue with the film was Joshua Jackson. I do like, the dude, but just felt out of place in this thing. I'm like, is the film kind of started with him in a way? And I'm like, is he the main?
Oh, yeah. And then it kind of just...
went that way and then he's gone, yeah.
I'm not sure if it didn't smack of a rewrite, but you're absolutely right. It's just kind of like, we're going down this path.
No.
What? So not in the dusk till dawn sense of what the
Yeah.
But it was that, they've just abandoned that. And look, credit to them. I really liked the film. I thought it was really good.
I was Googling the soundtrack after it too. There's some cool songs in there, but yeah, I enjoyed it and do recommend it for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. Karate Kid Legends. Nice. I've got a confession to make because you put this list together and I got to admit something. I'm not going to admit it again, so don't clip this, fam. I'm a bit of a sucker for a good rom-com. When they're done well, like Richard Curtis, who did Four Weddings and a Funeral, Love Actually, Notting Hill, all those ones. And I've dug myself into a hole. There's not a lot of oxygen left. But when you got Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, I think it's going to be good.
You're good. I like a good rom-com as well. And it's just leading up to this. I dove into one with the missus, Crazy Stupid Love, first time watching this one. And like Ryan Gosling. Yeah, Fruit Looses get me ready for it. No, actually, that have you seen that one at all?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah, that one surprised me. I was really enjoying that film, to be honest. A guy who goes through a divorce and then, tries to get back in the scene and just doesn't like it and ends up, circling back and finds this other guy in the bar. Just, the drama that just confides in that film is just absolutely crazy.
Well, if you think about it, though, like with the Materialists and things like that, you don't have a crutch to fall back on. It's not like you can string together a bit of dialogue, do a little bit of a plot, and then cut to an action scene that goes for 20 minutes. You've got none of that. It is purely dialogue, script, screenplay driven. And I think that's why when it hits home, like, say, for example, the pinnacle of movies like that, Love Actually, when it's written well, you can't help but go, that's really good. Love Actually is kind of like a soppy version of Snatch, in my opinion. The Guy Ritchie film where everything entwines?
Yeah.
So Materialists and Pedro Pascal, I mean, what's that? That's his 47th movie he's been in this year?
Yeah, he's everywhere. You turn around, he's there. Turn around, he's there. Yeah, no, there's no complaints there.
No, none at all. And Chris Evans, which I completely forgot was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World until I put it on the other day. Completely forgot he was in that. And Dakota Johnson has, I'm not going to say in a 50s style presence on the screen because I wasn't around in the 50s. But in the 80s, people like Meg Ryan, Sigourney Weaver, Sharon Stone, she does have that presence on screen. So, yeah, I'm backing this one in. The Materialists.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good one to check out. See, Celine Song, who directed the film and wrote the film, was basically retelling her experience. So this is a truth to her own past life, where before getting into filmmaking, she was a matchmaker. So this is a truth experience that she's retelling through these actors, particularly through Dakota Johnson's character. So there's a lot of trauma as well here. So there's a lot of kind of 50 Shades thrown in there a little bit. You can't help yourself with Dakota Johnson there. So it's
right. Yeah.
It's a good kind of typical love triangle story, but there's an insight into the dating matchmaking scene where it does hit curveballs. But yeah, it's definitely not my go-to film if I'm going to a cinema. But Sony invited me down to the premiere, and so I'm all for it, and I go down, to support. Little did I know that this was actually marketed as also a girls' night out.
Hang on, who did you go to the premiere with?
Solo. So check this out. I'm the Lone Ranger walking into the cinema, packed house full of girls and wine, and there's one guy in the front row in a beanie. I felt awkward. I felt like this it immediately brought back memories of when I went to the 50 Shades of Grey premiere. I went with the missus for that one, but packed house full of girls. But this one, talking about 50 Shades premiere for a moment, there were girls fighting over which seat they could get. Because there was no allocated seating, people were fighting over seats. There's something about these films that these girls are really attached to. I'm not saying it's just suited for that crowd. And I'm sure there was probably other guys at this girls' night premiere. I couldn't see them. No.
Did you happen to notice anyone kind of hovering around you, sitting on your own at a rom-com premiere full of women, like ushers, police?
No, I believe I look pretty intimidating, but to be honest, I am quite the easygoing guy. So I think, no one sat near that, which is good. That's because I don't like someone sitting next to me anyway. So it's good. I had that kind of circle radius of people. I may have stunk, but at the point,
sign, Sean. That is not a good sign. See, the thing is when
escorted out.
If you go in somewhere, and I'm not saying you would, I've got to point this out. Sean's one of the most beautiful people I've met in my life. Nothing would ever happen. But at least for me, being 6'1", heavy set, metalhead, whatever, going into Saturday back in the day, or JB Hi-Fi, which are the retailers over here in Australia, you've only got to put up with the embarrassment as a dude like me, putting Notting Hill and the 2-disc expanded edition for about 10 seconds. You get a couple of looks and, it's for my mum, whatever. You've got to sit there all night with a radius. When has a radius ever been good? Let's have a look at what a radius is normally encompassing. A fallout zone, a riot. Oh, God, dude, I feel for you. But you know what? You're going to give us the tick of approval. So, Materialists, we salute you.
Yeah, I back to the film for a moment, not my experience because that's another story. But yeah, Pedro Pascal brings his signature charm while Chris Evans plays the lovable underdog. Alas, no banana splits, but a beer and Coke did the trick. But overall, yeah, good love triangle flick, laughs, heart. It was nice. So yeah, I think the ladies are going to love it. Guys, you still enjoy it. I still got a few giggles out, and yeah, I applaud again. Like I said, Sony Pictures are just smashing them out this month. Very impressed with this workload. So yeah, can't wait to see what else they do.
Dude, I've got to get on to the next movie because this is more up our alley.
Goosebumps.
I had no idea. Last podcast we were talking about this, and I said, well, I wouldn't consider the whole 28 Days franchise to be a zombie flick. It's rage. So you're so encased with rage because it's a virus that you just nuts, right? Not because of what we talked about, but all of a sudden there is this big push online. Like, no, they're not zombies. You got confirmation from one of the studios going, no, it isn't a zombie film.
Yeah, so we talked about it on the last podcast. I clipped it, put it as a reel, and it went pretty viral. And writing up the articles about it, I did throw in my 2 cents that kind of still fits in the zombie category. And Sony went, no, it's infected. So like kindly and courtesy, it's all, I'm representing their product. So yes, confirmed it is not. And I do agree with you, sir, because I haven't watched 28 Days Later in a while. And just within the first 10 minutes, I'm like, there it is right there. It's not a zombie film. Zombies are dying and coming back to life. No one died.
Yes. 28 years later, when you think of franchises that are, well, I don't think 28 Days Later was ever originally going to be set up as a franchise for 28 Weeks Later and so forth. But if there was ever a time, I think they've picked the timing of it perfectly. Absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
Especially because they could have rolled this out straight after the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because it is a virus. They didn't. The things that made 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later so good, those elements are in this, but it's not just fan service. I don't have a problem with fan service. Shit, I watched Beverly Hills Axel Foley on Netflix the other day. That was nothing but fan service for however long it went for. When you've got to extend that universe, so to speak, you've got to do it right. And you have to do it, for lack of a better term, cool.
Absolutely. And getting Danny Boyle and Alex Garland back, like reuniting from the first film, I don't think we're going to have any issues like we had with 28 Weeks Later, not familiar, being the same. But I am beyond ready, like edge of my seat ready. Like if I'm any more on the edge of my seat, my popcorn would be on the floor ready.
That's right. And it's scattered all over the radius.
They're definitely going to do this one justice, I believe. And not only that, the presentation, but the first film, like it was very raw, done on like not amazing cameras, but this time, they went like Sinners, they went IMAX cameras, and I heard there's some experimental camera techniques. I'll throw it on the screen right now. There was this one thing where they had like, I think it was 40 iPhone phone cameras around this person. Like, what is this thing going to do? I'm so interested just to see that technique alone.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are things that you can get away with on almost like an indie filmmaker level that can make it into big budget films. For example, one of the greatest superhero films that gets criminally overlooked is Logan.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Oh, brilliant movie. And when the professor can't control and the whole world just starts to kind of shake and everyone's stuck. Yeah. Do you know what that effect is?
Magnet.
So they got the camera, right? And they were, they were just shaking it really badly, right? And then they just went into movie editing software, and there's this thing you can use called stabilization, which it will digitally try and like smooth out the frame. But because it's moving so much, there's going to be shake, artifacts, and wobble. That's all that effect is.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so I love the fact that Danny Boyle, I mean, the guy was given full rights to direct the opening ceremony of the London Olympics. Like, this guy's got cred, right? And he's like, let's stitch a whole bunch of iPhones together.
Where does that idea come from?
I know.
And what is it going to do? I need to know.
It's true.
The upgrade of it is definitely there. Like, I've seen it with Sinners, got Oppenheimer that did it as well. Like, it's just built for the big screen again. I can't preach it enough. See these movies the way they're meant to be seen, and you will not regret it. I tell you, it doesn't hit the same at home. It really doesn't. But yeah, this is definitely the big screen horror event of the year. As you said, may possibly be the best movie of the year, for sure.
Of the year. I'm backing that in. Don't get me wrong, it's got stiff competition, but when you look at the sum of its parts and then you look at the finished product, it's a movie that you know how nowadays people will go, oh, dude, you got to check out this YouTube clip. it does bring back that, oh, dude, come over. You got to watch this. You haven't seen it? Oh, God. Yeah, put it on and enjoy it as well. I don't want to go into the plot for the people that haven't seen it. You've got me really torn now because I love trailers, always have. But now, because the process of a trailer movie release, then digital release is so quick, instead of watching a trailer 3-4 months before it comes out, forgetting the trailer and then watching it, I've started to steer away from trailers. So I don't want to ruin it from anyone. Yes,
yeah, I'm good with watching the first 10 seconds of the trailer, and that's enough. I'm like, yeah, that looks good, done. Yeah, the way they should be in the picture. Yeah, because trailers now, like as I said, 3 minutes long. They show you all the good bits of the movie. When you go to the cinema, all you're watching now is the dialogue in between. You missed the link. 28 days later, definitely one to revisit. Before you check out 28 years later. Can skip weeks if you want.
There's nothing wrong per se with 28 weeks later. The only downside is it's like when a band comes out with a brilliant first album. How do you follow that up?
Yeah.
And Danny Boyle wasn't involved. Robert Carlyle, fantastic actor. Everything that he's in, from like Trainspotting, Plunkett and McLean, that's another underrated gem. The Full Monty is so broad, and he doesn't let down, but you have no option but to compare it.
Yeah.
But that being said, and I'm not trying to say you're wrong, your favorite Back to the Future is the one that gets ignored the most when people ask, what is your favorite Back to the Future movie? You love 3 the most. You're the only person I know that says Back to the Future 3. Yeah, that's my jam. So take it or leave it. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I will say you're not getting anything extra. There's no real canon that you need to follow from 28 weeks later to 28 years later. So
yeah. Though I do give 28 weeks later credit for the opening segment, the first 10, 15 minutes. Wow. Perfect. And I think the end scene as well. There's an end scene with the helicopter. I love that. But everything in between there.
Yeah, a bit like the movie Swordfish. John Travolta and Hugh Jackman, they're a hacker. That massive bullet time shot where everything freezes, but it goes across like an entire section through a shop and everything. Yeah, a bit like that. I can't rave about it enough. And we'll move on to the next film if you like, because I could talk about Danny Boyle and this franchise for hours. So
new podcast coming out next week. Danny Boyle, us.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely, yeah, you're right.
Do you like sharks? I don't know. Do you like sharks in general or shark movies? Let's just say, do you like shark movies?
If they're done well, you would think that after Jaws and all of the, and everything like that, the Meg, you would think, well, it's a bit passé, really.
Yeah.
But then, even in your city of Adelaide, someone was attacked by a shark, a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, it's very frequent. Every few weeks I hear another one. And then they're back in the next day.
You're joking. I went to one of those places where the dolphins freely come in and out of this enclosure. So they're open, they're out, and you can't really, you sort of have to book and hope that it'll happen. But I remember this dolphin came in and they got them all down one end and they threw fish. The speed on which just the dolphins took off, and a shark's more streamlined. I don't really worry about sharks until I'm in the ocean and something that isn't sand or a person brushes against my leg. And then there's no other logical explanation. Shark!
See, I'm one to just go shallow. Like, I'm talking this shallow in the beach. I never like the beach. I like sitting on the beach. I always drive down to the beach and just sit there, eat food on the beach. Just that's a day at the beach for me, not going in,
Dude, but, you're 6'3". You can stand in the deep end of a pool and you'd be just at the beneath.
Valid.
Thank you.
But yeah, that
author short. I'm like,
eating a chopped hot back there.
Yeah, that's right.
But, as I said, I'm in the shallows, right? And that was fine for me. And now, just the last a few months, sharks are coming in the shallow. I'm not even been to the beach since. I'm like, well, you've that up for me.
Yeah, exactly. So when you see a movie like Dangerous Animals come out, let's be honest, the best suspense or the best intense moments are something you can relate to. In other words, when you hear a noise coming from upstairs, but you're the only one home, I'm not turning the lights on going to investigate. I'm going outside for a dart and seeing if anyone nearby wants to come over on some trumped up excuse like, oh, hey, man, I can't sleep. But when it's something that could happen to you easily, that's when I start going, because you know why? It's like you're getting close to the danger without getting close to the danger. Have you seen it though, Dangerous Animals?
I haven't yet, but I got some tickets to see it, so I'm very excited. But yeah, like shark films, love them. Obviously, everyone loves Jaws, but like I'm a massive Deep Blue Sea fan. Can't preach that enough. But I really crave shark films, and I feel like they're kind of taking a downward spiral. Especially, I'm not going to point blame. Maybe Sharknado was to blame. It's successful, but not my cup of tea of these B grade kind of things with cheesy sharks and CGI sharks. I like the serious shark films, and I think they've been done to death more recently, that they're very fair and few between. I'm always excited and ready to check one out, but I know within the 10, 15 minute mark if I'm continuing or not, One that kind of hit home was The Shallows. That one was more recently, maybe it's probably a decade ago. That one was cool. Kind of the 48 meters down, those were right. Dangerous Animals, the plot sense of it is brilliant. And plus side, it's done by an Australian director, an Australian actor. It has Sean Byrne,
Director.
Tasmanian. Sean Byrne, he did the Love one, did Devil's Candy. Yeah. Jai Courtney from Suicide Squad and Terminator Genesis. So like, I didn't notice this. So I'm like, this is an Australian film. I'm not sure where it was filmed. I'm guessing it was filmed in Australia.
Yeah, I would hope so.
But the plot of this is brilliant. Like, not been done before that I know of. Like, it's a serial killer on a boat, holds someone captive and basically throws them overboard unless, I don't know the premises of exactly, unless they're jumping in the water. So you got to deal with a serial killer on a boat in the middle of the ocean or the sharks in the water. That's kind of the situation in a nutshell. So I think she's, feeling safer in the water. I guess you could, what would you feel safer trapped on a boat with someone trying to stab you?
No,
or in the water trying to dodge sharks.
You're not exactly giving me a smorgasbord here. I would say that survival horror, like I said, survival horror works best when you can't see the threat.
Exactly.
Or when you can see the threat. What they've done here, geniusly I might add, is giving you both. So there's one threat and there's another threat and you've got to choose. And I don't know what I'd do. Now, the good thing about this film is that Sean Byrne, his other two movies he's written and directed, he's just directed this one. And the great thing is I think anybody that would do a screenplay or a script, even if they've got no real photographical knowledge on how to shoot a movie, they kind of know in their head what they want it to look like. And so you can get easy kudos because you wrote the material. Sean Byrne isn't directing his own work. So it's kind of proving that, okay, I'm going to jump out of this safety box and do something different and do someone else's script. I think that it's these kinds of movies that tick away. I mean, what, 6 million at the box office, I think it was, but that's okay. I don't know how many screens. You just want an experience. And if you're doing anything ocean-wise, big screen, because you're just going to feel like you're there, man. And that is something that I don't think I'd cope. It would be one of those things where the next time I go to the beach, I don't know when that'll be because I live in Tasmania, but that movie would be ticking through my head.
Well, those who are nervous about, investing in shark films for the same reason to me with the B grade kind of sharks and CGIs and everything, I think they can feel solace that this film is getting really good reviews at the moment, especially by my friends in general have been telling me that the first 10 minutes, straight away, this is epic and it's shocking. So I'm like goosebumps excited. I've got Ballerina on my list and Dangerous Animals. And 28 years later I'm going to be at the cinema again all next week. The cinema guy's like,
you again.
Right, so next month on Netflix, July 25th, Adam Sandler returns to Happy Gilmore. Oh my God. I think everyone and anyone is like eyes on for this one.
Didn't see this coming at all. Sequels, for those that are not as old as I, sequels were a couple of years after they came out, especially back in the 80s and the 90s. To wait so long Are you going because it's a nostalgia blast, or are you going because you're invested in what Happy Gilmore's up to? And I think it's a bit of both.
Packed to the top of the roof cast, like returning Ben Stiller, Shooter McGavin, Post Malone and the Eminem ruined. Like there's some wrestlers in there. Like it's just going to be absolute circus of chaos. And it's exactly what I think everyone wants when they hear Happy Gilmore 2. And I don't think they'll be disappointed. I mean, Adam Sandler, still a contender of probably one of the best actors of all time, and I love him or hate him. I can't give you like more than a couple of films that I don't like. So then usually there's my collection of his broad needs its own shelf.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Happy Gilmore 2. I've seen the trailer. I've seen that before we had our conversation. Right.
Shame.
I've seen the trailer. To be honest, I didn't need to see it. I could have just seen Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah,
and then and then just see who the cast is. And that would be enough for me. Going back to watching Axel Foley, the Beverly Hills Cop Netflix thing that they did, I guess you're sort of stuck between how much fan service do you put in and how much originality do you want to put in? Now, sure, he's older, he's got kids and this and that, but I think at the end of the day, you want to go back to when PlayStation 1s were, the thing, and you'd buy a hi-fi system and it'd have a tape deck in it, and I think it's one of those things I think is going to reinforce it's okay to get older. I am looking forward to it, but my expectations of it being nominated for 4 Academy Awards it's not high. But I think it's going to be a wild romp. I really think it's going to do justice. Yeah. Because Sandler, Happy Madison Productions, his production company, is doing it. So they're not going to put something out that's mediocre when it comes to, half the namesake of his production company. So,
Yeah, very valid points there. And there's definitely more to the story there. I mean, like Shooter McGavin needs redemption, like he went out hard at the very end. So that's great. And Ben Stiller, like, is he returning as that psycho nurse doctor guy? I need to know. Like, and Chubbs, Chubbs passed away in real life. So like they're doing a tribute to him. I'm pretty sure one of his sons in the film. Yeah. So that'll be good to see. But yeah, it's based obviously in the story 30 years after the first film. Happy's going golfing again to raise money for his daughter's ballet school. So So I think it's set up, obviously to be the same kind of story, but it's the chaos I think we need, especially just Shooter and Sandler. That's all you needed to do. 10-second trailer. Hey, piece of shit, and bang, done. So
that's right. I think it's one of those the world needs this movie right now kind of things. So yeah.
I definitely think it's going to be gold, and I hope Shooter gets his jacket. Now, this is the story. The golden jacket he didn't get. I hope like 30 years has gone by and he still hasn't got it, and he's still trying to get it. And this is like his 1 year where he thinks, and then there's you again,
you again. Yeah. Stay connected with us on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest movie news and your chance to score free movie tickets. Coming up, we've got double passes for I Know What You Did Last Summer, the new one. If you're listening to the podcast, don't forget the video version is up now on our YouTube channel. And check out the Movieland Spotlight, where we sit down with the stars behind the scenes. This month, we're joined by Max Goldblatt for the classic films Heavyweights, Bushwhacked, and the underrated Hidden Gem Sticks and Stones. Now we're here to guide you through the best content to watch, whether you're planning a movie night at home or hitting the cinema. But first, let's check out what's playing on the big screen.
First on the big screen, Ballerina. It is directed by Len Wiseman and stars Ana de Armas, Norman Reedus, and of course features a cameo by the legendary Keanu Reeves as Mr. Wick himself. While this installment steps slightly away from John's usual mayhem, it takes a familiar mantle. Like basically a revenge film, a ballerina turned assassin. Ballerina is now showing in cinemas, and if you're a fan of slick, high-octane action thrillers, this one is well worth on the big screen experience. And run out to see it now because it's at the cinema as we speak. Your mission, should you accept it? When Mission Impossible first accepted its first mission in 1996, few could predicted that nearly 3 decades later would still be stopping for another epic espionage with Ethan Hunt. risking his life and limb for entertainment, basically. Death-defying stunts, and most actors, they wouldn't dream of doing these. You start to wonder, Ethan, are you okay? Why do you keep accepting all these missions? Are you trying to set a high score? If so, mission accomplished. And the final reckoning is proof that the impossible is very much possible. Still in cinemas now, so run, don't walk to the nearest screen. This is one mission you don't want to miss. As I said, next month we've got tickets to I Know What You Did Last Summer coming up. That is a release by Sony Pictures Australia. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are returning. This is a new film set in the same universe. Jennifer said that if she's going to come back 27 years later, she doesn't want to be in it for 5 seconds. She wants to make it matter for people, not, oh, here's the ghost of I Know What You Did's past. She's going to have a substantial role, and I applaud compared to the other cameos in most movies these days where, the originals are only in there very briefly. Plus side, this one's actually been filmed in Sydney, Australia, in cinemas July 17th. Of course, there are plenty other standout screenings this month that we've already talked about, including the highly anticipated Karate Kid Legends, the sharp and stylish rom-com Materialists, the chilling return to horror in 28 Years Later, and the tech-fueled horror terror Megan 2.0. It's packed with movies this month with something for every kind of fan.
At Movieland, we highly recommend checking out event cinemas across Australia. You can relax, unwind, and indulge in gold class, the first class cinema experience with exclusive lounge access, in-seat service, and fully reclining seats. Get the star treatment today, or upsize your ticket with VMAX. Big screen, big sound, and big ways to upgrade your seat with giant state-of-the-art digital screens showing the latest Hollywood blockbusters. At event cinemas, you can be rewarded for doing what you love, seeing movies. Join Cinebuzz. Earn points and redeem free movie tickets and save 10% on food and drinks. Join now and save at eventcinemas.com.au. As we said before, we have plenty of free movie tickets to give away this month. There's some very exciting films. And what better excuse to hit the cinema for a free night out? All you have to do is follow us on Facebook or Instagram and look out for our giveaway posts. And simply comment with a popcorn emoji and go into the draw to win. Now, for those looking to stay at home on the couch with your streaming services connected, let's save you the time clicking endlessly for something to appeal to you. Here are the highlighted new releases on streaming this month.
We're killing strangers. We're killing strangers.
Predator Killer of Killers brings the iconic sci-fi hunter back in a brutal form, setting the stage for a thrilling new chapter in the legendary franchise, but this time as an anime from the director of Prey and set in the same universe. Killer of Killers is a high-stakes survival thriller, not only expands the lore, but also serves as the perfect lead-in to the next big screen chapter, Predator Badlands, hitting cinemas later this year. Stream Predator Killer of Killers now on Disney+. Over on Netflix, Titan, the OceanGate Disaster. It's a powerful documentary that tells the true story of the 2023 submersive tragedy. The Titan was diving to see the Titanic wreck when it suddenly imploded, killing all 5 people on board. This film includes real footage and interviews with people close to the mission, including the former OceanGate employee who warned about safety problems prior to the incident. It reveals how risky decisions and ignoring expert advice led to this disaster. This is a must-watch documentary that shows what can go wrong when safety takes a back seat to ambition. Also on Netflix, The Wait is Over. Squid Game returns for its final season on June 27 on Netflix. Expect the return of familiar faces and the introduction of terrifying new games, including a deadly jump rope game challenge. Don't miss this epic conclusion. Stream all episodes on Netflix.
Max is the new streaming service in Australia, bringing together top content from HBO, Warner Brothers, DC, Discovery, and more, all in one place. Enjoy hit series like Succession, The Last of Us, House of the Dragon, and blockbuster movies like Barbie and The Matrix. Sign up today at max.com and dive into a world of entertainment. Basic plans start at only $11.99 a month. Now, if you're like me, you've never got enough to watch, or you'd just like a bigger selection to choose from. So here's some of the new releases now available to rent or buy on digital.
Sing with me, Father John. Long and bad.
On digital this month, I highly recommend checking out Sinners with Michael B. Jordan from director Ryan Coogler, who brought you Black Panther and Creed. Absolute master of a film for fans of, say, From Dusk Till Dawn and The Faculty or The Thing. So many elements of craziness. Just hold on, because the first half of the film is something completely different, but when it hits the fan, it hits the fan. Sinners is definitely one to check out. Until Dawn, based on the PlayStation game of the same name, this horror epic Groundhog Day is absolutely intense and exploding with fun. Don't miss this one, because you'll definitely have a blast. Also, the Looney Tunes are back in a feature film called The Day the Earth Blew Up. Highly recommend this one. It's absolutely fun. For those who are fans of Space Jam, you're definitely going to kick out of this one. Daffy Duck and Porky Pig take the highlight and the center stage and absolutely do not disappoint.
There's never enough new movies coming out, so be kind, rewind. It's not an old movie if you haven't seen it, so check out a classic movie this month. We got some hidden gems for you that we recommend that you dig up and check out.
One film I wanted to bring up with you is the original Terminator. See, I went to JB just to pick up Companion on 4K, and just alone, but there was a Steelbook 4K edition of Terminator 1. I'm like, I cannot help myself. So, yeah. Funny enough, the cashier's like, two kind of robot movies I'm checked out here coincidentally. Yeah, I was just rewatching Terminator 1 and just thinking outside the box for a minute. I mean, I don't need to explain Terminator to anyone. Everyone knows what it is. But one thing that popped in my head at the start, Sarah's like kind of, and Kyle get arrested in that cop situation. The cops are like saying Kyle's crazy and something. I was thinking, what if this movie is what the cops say? They're all on PCP and they're all crazy. And this guy's not a robot. He's just psychotically, they're both, Kyle and the Terminator are crazy chasing this girl around.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That'd be hilarious. And, I knew there was a director's cut. I probably had seen it a long time ago, but I wasn't prepared to be refreshed on it. When Arnie drops out the F-bomb in the film, I just started laughing out loud. I didn't see that coming.
Geez, you're childish.
Yeah, very childish.
I can't say the good thing about a James Cameron director's cut. It's like what he did with Aliens. It's like what he did with T2. I'm not sure why he cuts that content out, because it's not superfluous what he does cut out. Like, say, for example, if you have a look at Aliens, right? And there's that whole scene where they have the turrets, the motion-controlled turrets, right? And you see them, throw a crate and, everything like that. That was cut out of the film, right? In Terminator 2, that whole scene where they're in that garage and, they open up his head and it goes to smash the Cyberdyne chip in it. That could have stayed in. And so I've never seen the director's cut of Terminator, the original Terminator.
Right.
So my question to you is, like what other James Cameron director's cuts have come out, was it better?
Oh, yeah. And there was more scenes, especially that scene in particular where he drops the F-bomb. That whole scene's extended. That's where his eye's damaged and he's ripping out his eye. That whole scene goes way longer and it's way gruesome. I'm just like, I can see why that got trimmed, but I didn't need to see all that. But some people, prefer to see it. But necessarily speaking, that's probably the only scene I kind of noticed. I haven't seen the original in a while. But I have been rocking out to the soundtrack. Bud, tell me about Electric Dreams.
Oh, mate. This was one of those movies where it wasn't really on my radar. It was back in the day when you would just go buy what was on the store shelves at your video store. I would go and rent this film as a kid pretty much every week. Like, I would rent it for a week, and then when we had to go take it back, I would just pay $3.
Right.
And again, back when computers were starting to make their way into homes, this guy, Miles, buys a computer, even though he doesn't want one. He's a bit tech illiterate. While he's trying to set it up at home, he spills drink on it, and it becomes sentient's kind of like a hardcore term because it sounds like they're doing something evil, but it becomes conscious and basically starts to take over his life, and then falls in love with this girl that Miles is dating. And I mean, in case you're wondering, yes, the Phil Oakey, Giorgio Moroder song, Together in Electric Dreams, is in the movie. That's what it's from. When you think about it, back in the 80s, mid-80s, right? There's no way a computer could do this. Like, not even. It's not until I watched it recently that I realized, as a kid, I loved it because it was a computer that could mess with someone, effectively troll them. It's a little bit disturbing. Like, there's one point where, like, there's this massive, Miles has had enough and he rips the computer apart and everything like that. And then she goes in and you see, like, these close-up shots of her rubbing her finger over a capacitor. That's the response. That is the only response you can have to that. It is one of those can't live with you, can't live without you kind of thing. So yeah, Electric Dreams, if you can see it, it's cheesy, but I liked it. I still, to this day, very much like it, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not one I've seen, but I'm intrigued, and I do know the song. So that was going to be one of my questions, is the song part of the soundtrack? So,
yeah, absolutely. Now time to play another round of, let's be honest, one of the most scintillating things on any podcast platform. What's the score? Now, this is where we play a very small snippet of a movie score, and you just have to tell us what it is. Last week, congratulations to Six Again Sack. Got all three. This is what they were. Thank you to everyone that got involved, apart from the people that were directly inboxing Sean asking, can you tell me what the answer is? Do you think that's do you think that's what it's about, fam? You know, that's why you'd be crap at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'd be like, which director started their first film career in 1978? Hey, bro, what was, can you just, idiots. So, Six Again Sacks, you've got yourself free movie tickets. This week, I've got the record here, Sean. What's the score? That's it.
I don't know what that is. What is it?
You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
I might be kidding. I'm just playing the game with everyone. I'm going to inbox myself and ask myself for the answer later.
Yeah. If you know what that is and you can figure it out on your own, then let us know in the comments and see if you've got what it takes to know what's the score.
All right, buddy. I can't thank you enough for joining us today. And it's always fun to talk movies with you. And I look forward to talking more and hearing what you check out next month on the big screen, especially 28 years later, buddy. Can't wait to hear what you think of this.
I'm going to be so disappointed. I'm hoping I haven't hyped it up. I remember back in the 90s when Speed came out, and so many people were saying, oh my God, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God, you just don't know what. And it got hyped up so much that when I went and seen it as brilliant, it didn't match the hype. So I apologize if I have hyped it up, but for me, I got to call it movie of the year. Here.
He's just not going to be here on the next podcast if it's bad. So
that's right. I'll be off camera. I'll be like you, trying to keep that 6'3" frame down. It'll be like, yeah, it's caught this movie this week. It's good.
Drop my jacket.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't forget to be kind, rewind, and don't do your homework without wearing headphones. Repeat.